Well, at the time, my wife was not into anything like that at all. And so when she saw me eating like plates full of meat and bacon and butter, she was freaking out. Like she was like, "You are going to have a heart attack. You're going to die, dude." I'm like, "No, I swear to God." And she would not learn the science of it. So it really became a divided household.
Josh, how did you find Carnivore?
Well, I found Carnivore probably about like most people. It was through the internet and research. So I like I've seen a lot of your guests, and you really have some amazing people that have a huge laundry list of medical issues. And that's it's crazy. And I like to consider myself maybe the normal fat guy, and I had sort of normal fat guy problems. And some of that was health, which I'll cover later. But as I gained weight, um, I'll say I started about 2.5 years ago, and as far as the research. And then I got convinced, and I guess what it was initially was fasting, because fasting was sort of like it was had its moment in the spotlight, and everybody was talking about fasting. And then I guess as it was kind of fading, I wanted to look into it. So the first introduction of videos I got, I believe, was Thomas DeLauer, because he was doing a lot of fasting videos back then. And so I thought, okay, this seems pretty cool. Like I could still kind of eat like a portion control, and I could do fasting. And it seems like that could be the way to go. Cause I had been a professional yo-yo dieter. So I thought maybe this is going to be the way. And so I was looking into it. And of course, once you start digging into the rabbit hole, especially with YouTube, you start getting all the other videos popping up on the side. So I started seeing more keto stuff as well. And so I thought, okay. And some of it started making sense. I started watching some of them because there was a lot of combination videos. It was like, hey, do keto and fasting. Like, okay. So that's kind of what started that journey. And then a couple of years ago, I finally decided to commit. And this would have been probably spring of 2022. I decided to commit. I was like, okay, I'm going to do keto and I'm going to do fasting. So I started 2 weeks in. And as I'm watching more videos during my first 2 weeks of keto/fasting, that's when I started getting more and more carnivore videos. And those made even more sense. And of course, I found, like most people, Dr. Barry, Chafee, Baker, all like the really the top three voices in the carnivore community. But I think it was one of the videos. I don't want to say it was Chafee. It could have been him at that time, but it was almost like a different specialist. And he was talking about vegetables. And I know Chafee's always like, vegetables are trying to kill us. But I think this guy it was like a lecture type thing. And it was similar in message, but it really got me thinking. And I was like, oh my God. And that's what really woke me up to carnivore. So I just like immediately, like after that 2 weeks, I just was like, boom, carnivore. Well, at the time, my wife was not into anything like that at all. And so when she saw me eating like plates full of meat and bacon and butter, she was freaking out. Like she was like, "You are going to have a heart attack. You're going to die, dude." I'm like, "No, I swear to God." And she would not learn the science of it. So it really became a divided household. And it was really tough because at the time, like I'm working all the time and she was making dinner. And so she would, just like we do, we make our food with love, right? We cook for our loved ones. And so she's making like these amazing dinners. And I'm coming home going, I can't eat that. And so it was like personal to her and it caused a lot of division. And so after 6 weeks of fighting, I gave up. I gave up. And then I gained the 30 pounds that I had lost in that 6 weeks. I gained it all back and then some. And my body really rebelled. And I blew up, and I'm only 5'6". And so I maxed out at I weighed myself maxed out at 315. I believe I probably got a little higher than that. But, because I think there was some time I actually started to lose a little more weight, and then I finally decided to. So then what happened is November 27th, 2023, the day after Thanksgiving. By this point, I was cooking dinners because the dynamics had shifted in our household. So now that I was cooking dinners, I thought, hey, I'll make her like sad food and I'll make carnivore, because I really loved it. Like, it was stuck in my mind for like over a year and a half. Like, just the feelings I got, those 6 weeks that I experienced carnivore was just like there the whole time in the back of my mind. And I kept watching videos every so often, testimonials, all the stuff that all of us do. And so I made a commitment. Like I said, November 27th, day after Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm done. I mean, and I had gotten to the point. So where I was at, I weighed in day after Thanksgiving or whatever, 315, like point something, but like 315 pounds. I was at the point where, as a fat guy, I was literally having to do like these yoga twist, almost throw my back out just to wipe my own butt. And that's sad. Like, when you get to a stage where, you might have to call for assistance to wipe your own butt. I mean, that's humiliating. That's just degrading to the soul. And I'm like, and I have to wear jeans for my job. We have to wear like these, either like kind of like a heavier grade cargo pants or like jeans. And so I'm having to buy like these stretchy elastic belts and put my jeans on like sweatpants or something, or like shorts, with the elastic bands. I'm having to pull them up, and I'm like having to put on socks, put on shoes like a weird way, because I'm having to contort and use. I'm have to get on the ground and kneel. I had to do all these things just to do some normal activities. I started getting these from my right knee down to my ankle. I started getting these skin blisters, almost like this eczema type stuff. It was like and I found out it was a lot of like pre-diabetic type stuff. I was getting skin tags, which are signs of pre-diabetes. And I was just like, oh my God, and I realized, like I said, all of that stuff, I knew I needed to do something. So I committed to it. And at that time, I think Barry had came out with his 90-day beef, butter, bacon, and egg challenge. Well, I didn't go strict BBB&E when I started, because I knew from previous that I still could do some cheese and certain things. So I was a little more dirty carnivore when I first started. So that's where I discovered the journey of carnivore, for sure. I felt like the one thing I wanted to do when I got into one of the commitments I wanted to do was start a YouTube channel to vlog my success, or not even success. I don't want to say that, but I'll be honest with you. I'm the kind of person that I'm very strong-willed, but I love food. I loved food. I was addicted to sugar and carbs. I'm the kind of person that, and some of your other guests have alluded to it as well, but I have to abstain. I have to completely abstain. I can't moderate like sugar and carbs. I tried. I'm a professional dieter. So I've tried, I've yo-yo dieted, and I have proof. I have proof. I actually have 11 years worth of weigh-in data, and I shared it with people, and you could literally see just up and down, and it just would rise, over the years. So it showed my professional yo-yo dieting, and I would literally took my phone camera and I went in the garage and I showed people all the workout videos the different ones that I just had boxes of workout videos and all this stuff. And so, but I wanted to start a vlog, like a diary, because I needed that accountability, because I knew my wife wasn't, she was like the devil on my shoulder. She was like the one going, these donuts, and she's like buying donuts and stuff and everything else. So it was rough. Like being in a divided household, people don't realize how difficult that is. That's something I like to address to people all the time. It's like, that's not easy. And that's something that I know a lot of people face in the carnivore community, is trying to live in a divided household. And I'm telling you from experience, it's rough. But I started day one. I started doing like the little 15, well, it may have been longer at the time. I was a little more long-winded. So I did more like 20, 30-minute videos. And then pretty soon I got it down to where I'm doing under 15-minute videos. But I just started telling people, hey, this is what I ate. This is how I felt, just to kind of summarize the day. And I just wanted that record. And I think also too, is like, it was really hard to like find people out there that were telling you how much they were eating. And all you'd hear was like, well, you gotta, it's kind of tailored for yourself and this and that. And like, I understood that, but I was like, I really wanted some kind of formula, like some kind of menu, something that like, what's the everyday like? How can I make this work for me? And then, so that's one of the reasons why when I started doing the vlog, I made sure to tell everybody, this is exactly how much I eat. But I also had the message of, you got to listen to your body. You have to learn how to listen to your body and stuff like that. But it took me a little bit to understand that, like the first 2 months. But I wanted something to hold me accountable. And to be honest with you, I was going through, nobody knew it, but, I was going through some really rough times behind the camera. Not a lot of people knew, like I keep a lot of my personal life separate from my vlogging. I just wanted people to only focus on the carnivore diet. I didn't want them to come in there and hear some guy like, complaining about his life or something. I didn't want that. I just wanted people to know how I felt and what I ate. And so that way it may help them. If I could help one person, that was kind of the mentality. And, but they didn't know I was going through like a divorce situation. And so it was tough. And I wanted to turn to food. Food had always been a comfort. I had always suffered from depression off and on, and nothing like with drugs, like, nothing major. Again, I've always felt like I represent like the normal guy. Like I don't have a huge laundry list of medical problems, but I had enough problems that they were serious enough. But I just, it was like, I felt like I wanted to fall off the wagon multiple times. But because I started that vlog and I had people that were starting to message me saying that, like, they were going, oh, you inspired me to do another day. I'm like, me? and it was humbling. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, well, I can't let them down. I can't. So like, even when I thought like, maybe I should, like, who will know? Like if I just go and have a cake or something, who's going to know? But I knew, and God knew, and it's like, I just didn't want to let anybody down, and I didn't want to be untruthful for people. So my viewers have kind of kept me on the straight and narrow, and because of all that in carnivore, it's really helped me to make it through some of the toughest times and to start overcoming a lot of the conditions that I talked about earlier. So.
Wow. So, well, first, congratulations on getting on and staying on. I can understand the situation at first where you're trying to eat this way and you're struggling to also say no to the food that your wife at the time was making for you, because that's exactly what I went through as well. It's like, yeah, I really appreciate it, but I can't. I
Right.
can't have that. And you feel so bad saying that as well. And you have this kind of moment as well where it's like, is it easier to just eat the food rather than deal with the argument or deal with the conflict, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. And it was tough. And then I think, so where I found myself, um, in my journey was I felt like the normal guy, like I was representing the normal guy, and people were coming on my channel, and because, so first of all, I love food. And as anybody knows, when you talk to a lot of your average people, one of the first things they tell you is like, man, I don't know if I could give up homemade bread, or I don't know if I can give up my beer or my pizza, or, they always have something that they can't give up, right? And I was that way. And like all my professional dieting, I had always I'd always resign myself to saying, those guys in the videos, or those guys on TV or infomercials or documentaries or whatever media I was watching about dieting, those guys were built differently. I was like, there's something about them. I'm just like, I'm a normal fat guy. They don't understand what it's like to be addicted to these foods, and like, yeah, some of them are obese, but they're just built differently. They have something that I've done the workouts. I've done that. I don't get the runner's high. I don't get like oh, it feels good if I work out every day. Like now that, no, I don't. I've done it. I did 90 days of P90X. I've done like months of other programs. I've done the workouts, and yes, there's something to be said about being stronger and all these things. And yes, I get that. But in the end, it was always miserable. It was always a chore to work out. And I just said, man, other people, they're just built differently than me, and I just don't know if I can do that. So for me, that's how I always had felt. And I just almost was resigned that nothing was going to work for me. But of course, when I did carnivore that first year, for that 6 months, like it made me feel so good. And I'm like, man, and I'm like, I'd like to get back to that. So when I got back to this, and like I'm telling people, like, look, this is how it is, and like this is how I'm feeling, and trying to convey that message to people. It's been so nice to be able to tell people, yeah, I can actually say this does work. It's not just like, and I believe that if I can do it, anybody can do it. Cause that was like always the thing. And like, you always hear people say, well, if I can do it. And then in my mind, I'm like, yeah, whatever, BS. And so, but I finally realized that literally, if I can do it, because again, I had gotten so good with cooking. Like I was starting to incorporate French cooking techniques. I never wanted to cook for like the public. I was like, nah, I don't want to cook for public. But I used to love to make my family or guests that came over. I loved it. Whatever I wanted to make, I wanted to be the best. And I wanted them to show up and be happy, because that's the only way I knew how to make people happy, was food, because it made me happy. Or at least that's what I thought was food. That's the one thing I control. I quit smoking like years ago. I was, I was a smoker. I quit drinking years ago. So I had no crutch. And so I had to deal with my depression head on. And the only way that ever made me feel good was eating. I could eat these foods and they just made me feel so good, at least for that little bit. And then, of course, you fell in the cycle of, well, I eat because I'm depressed, but now I'm depressed because I ate. So now I eat, and it's just the cycle. So, right. So, so I'm now where I'm at in my journey now. I'm 60 pounds down. So I'm at 255. Like I said, I was at 315, and I just weighed in. I'm on day 155 today. I can put on my pants with a regular belt like a normal person. I can put my socks and shoes on pretty normal now. I definitely can wipe my own butt. I never had to ask, but I was very close. Like I was very close, and that was almost humiliating because there was a couple of days where my back was so tight and hurting that I almost thought I couldn't. Now, no problems hitting the landing zone. I can tell you that. And so in my skin condition, from my knee to my ankle, it looks a little rough to some people when it comes to the color of the skin, but it's a lot of pink now. It's a lot of new tissue. It's not red and blistering. It's like smooth pink. There's scarring, but it's healing. So a lot of the skin conditions, skin tags are shriveling more and more and more. And of course, like most people talk about, I'm going to back it up and say, yes, the brain fog was lifted, more creativity. I don't focus on food as much. My depression has gone away. I don't feel like food is it's not what I look forward to every day. It's just something I do now. And yeah, sometimes I'll look forward to eating something, like if I pick up a steak finally, because I have a lot of ground beef, like most of us. I have a majority of ground beef as my diet. So sometimes I'll get, like today I had chuck eye steak for the first time in a while. So it was, sometimes I'll look forward to that. But my life isn't predicated on food like it used to. I used to basically like worship food. Like I said, I loved food. And now, 5 months later, I don't feel like I need it. I really don't feel like I need it anymore in that sense. And I feel a more sense of empowerment, like I can go do more things. So, and here's one of the big reasons too. When I started, it started to affect some of my career. And the way I can explain it is I have 3 jobs. And my first job, I'm on ladders sometimes. I fix people's internet. You can pretty much think of me as like a cable guy, because I used to actually fix cable and phone and internet, but now we just do phone and internet. Nobody watches cable anymore. But internet, we actually have our ladders at work. I noticed one day, like we have ladders that, they're go up a couple feet, or a couple stories. And the weight limit was 300 pounds. Of course, I'm American. I'm going to say pounds. Sorry. So the weight limit was 300 pounds. And I'm like, oh my God, I could probably lose my job if they like really wanted to call me out, or they'd put me on some kind of medical leave, I'm sure, and that's not good. So I kind of was like, oh, that's another reason why I need to kind of secretly lose some weight here so I can get within the weight limits of the safety equipment at work. But also my third job, and again, this is stuff I don't normally share with a lot of people, but I do a lot of TV and film. Like I have my own TV series on a streaming platform. And so I'm in front of a camera, and I don't really like to be. It's just kind of like I don't have a lot of choice because I have to sort of be the director and also act in there too, or whatever, play, be in front of the camera. But like right in November, actually in October, I was editing an episode of the first season, episode 5. And we had gotten a new cameraman, and I started seeing images of my entire body, because most of things that were filmed, I would try to make sure the shots were like medium close-ups, like chest up, and I tried my best to always avoid. Well, with the new camera guy, we had filmed this whole episode, and there was multiple shots of like my full body in like these angles. And I'm like, oh my God, I am so fat, like fatter than you think. Because in your mind, you always think a different image of yourself. But when you see it on camera, it's like the reality. And you're like, oh my God, the camera adds 150 pounds. Holy crap. So I basically, luckily, I have really good, a really good studio I work for, and I said, hey, I need to take the winter off, and I'd like to wrap up season 1 with a short season, and let's just start over with season 2 in spring. I said I need to focus on my health, and they said, yeah, they were cool, and so that's what I'm doing. So we will be resuming filming. I can't wait till I'm completely normal, but at least I feel a lot better, going back in front of the camera now. Like here in probably about a month, we'll be resuming filming. But it's like, man, there was so many things through the winter time that just motivated me to keep going. And that's where I've been with Carnivore.
Wow. So, well, congratulations. How are you eating?
So, on average, what I do, and this is what's worked for me, is in the daytime, usually I'll fast. I'm not a morning eater, although I've said this in multiple diary episodes. I do wake up and I'll be a little hungry in the morning sometimes. I'll have a little bit of hunger, but it's not an uncomfortable hunger. So because of that, I'll just kind of push through that. It's not uncomfortable. And so I'll just start drinking a little bit of water. And, I like to sip on water through the day. I've got like this, I don't have it near me right now, but I've got like, it's like a white marble kind of, it's like this is my coffee cup, but I've got a taller water one, and I love it. And it's my companion every day. So I'll take that to work with me, sip on some water, but then around like 2:30 in the afternoon, it's about the time when I get a good hunger that I want to eat. Like my body's saying, okay, it's time to eat. And for that, I'll either do like 2 hard-boiled eggs, or sometimes I'll do a couple hot dogs from the gas station, like some beef. They have these all beef hot dogs. Sometimes I'll get those if I'm on the run, but I love to have my hard-boiled eggs. I usually make a batch of them at the beginning of the week, and I'll keep them shelled in the fridge, and then I'll shell them, put a couple in a Ziploc bag, and I got some Redmond's real salt that I take to work, like in a little special container, and I keep it in my work truck. And I'll just, around 2:30, I'll take a small break, eat a couple hard-boiled eggs, and then when I get home, I'm kind of having my main meal. And usually I give myself a rule of thumb of about a pound of meat, depending on what it is. And sometimes if I have some days where I feel extra hungry, I might have a pound of meat with like some eggs. Maybe I'll have a pound of meat with eggs and bacon, or, whatever. So usually it's about a pound of meat, like I said, whether it's ground beef, 16-ounce steak. And then some days I'll finish the food. Some days I'll leave a little. Some days I'll want a little more, and I'll go make a couple more eggs or something. But that's generally what I'm eating each day. And then I may have a couple of butter bites. I stopped making them for like 3 months, but I just made some recently, and I don't know. It's been kind of a nice addition again to have a few little butter bites at the end of the meal again. I forgot how good they are. And then I have my coffee. I'm still drinking coffee, my 20 ounces of black coffee with a very small splash of heavy cream. And that's typically my average day. And that's been working for me. But I tell people, hey, it's my body won't let me eat more, because some people say, oh, you're under eating. Am I? Because I don't know. My body tends to tell me, though, usually when I'm done with dinner, it's like I can't eat no more. My body's like, don't take another bite. So I feel like it's been doing me good. I'm averaging about 3 pounds a week is what my weight loss has been averaging. But I don't focus on that. I really do focus on the health overall.
Nice. So yeah, like friends saying you're under eating and stuff like that. Like, has anyone reacted kind of negatively? Like, oh my goodness, this is weird. You're only eating meat and eggs.
Well, my friends, I don't have a lot of friends in my personal life because I'm very much a very private person, and some of my friends that I worked with, they didn't kind of, when they found out I was doing the TV show stuff, they were like, you're weird, like doing all the filming Hollywood kind of stuff, and I don't know. So that's kind of alienated me, but I've got, other friends that I have in the industry now. But I think more of it's just the carnivore community and how they like to sometimes get hyper focused on certain things. And this is something that's been addressed, so I don't like to harp on it too much, but it's like there's only so much perfection. There's sort of that civil war amongst the people in the carnivore community about what to eat, clean, dirty, those type of things. And it's like, come on, guys, it's like, we're all doing good. If I want a couple hot dogs, I'm gonna eat a couple hot dogs. It could be worse. I could eat a couple coney dogs or something like the breaded, corn dogs or whatever. But no, it's so yeah, like I would get some comments where people would like do the math and they would like figure, because I have my stats I'd share like under the videos, and so they would be like, for your weight and your age and your this and that, you should have more macros and micros and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't get into that. I don't literally I've watched a ton of research videos. I've heard them all. I've heard them all talk about this stuff. I don't focus on it. Like I said, I like to represent the everyday person, the person that is not going to count their calories. They're not going to count their macros. They're not going to portion control. They're not going to do nothing. They just want to learn how to eat the right way, like by listening to your body. I don't really supplement. The only thing I've been supplementing lately is in my coffee, I'll put like 4 iodine drops. I do that each night, but I don't feel like I need to, but I've been doing it. And mostly because I bought the bottle and it lasts a really long time. So when I'm done with it, I don't know. We'll see. I may or may not do that. But yeah, I don't like to get too caught up in the specifics. I don't think that's how a proper human diet should really be. I mean, it should be a lot like natural to us. It's eat meat, eat eggs or whatever, eat till you're full and you should be good. And you should get all the nutrients that you need through all those things. So that's kind of been my take on it.
Nice. So, Josh, can you tell us where we can find your channel and what kind of stuff you've got coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can find me at Josh's Weight Loss Diary. That's my daily vlog. But recently I have launched a new website, and this website, if you don't mind, Dave, I'd really love to talk about it, because it's not something that's based out of ego or greed. In fact, it's my goal when I did this website was to create a place that you can send people when you're trying to talk to them, because it's hard to cram a couple years of research and rabbit hole stuff down people's throats in a conversation. And it's really hard sometimes to just send them to like one YouTube channel or something. It's really tough. So what I did was I created a channel or a website that you can send people that has all of our stuff, your stuff, my stuff. It don't matter. It's links. They can go there and they can find out what is carnivore. And there's video links to the doctors, right? Baker, Chafee, Barry, and it goes right to their YouTube channel. I don't get anything for it. It just links right to their stuff. They get the views, they can market their people. I don't care. It's not meant for me. It's to be a huge, massive directory for the carnivore community and a source of like a library. That's all I wanted for it. And like there's a section for medical videos. So like if people had concerns about what about cholesterol? What about, blood pressure? What about like A1C stuff? Like anything that we deal with in the carnivore community, I'm trying to gather all these links and videos to everybody's channels. I have a thing for carnivore YouTubers. You're on there. People can see it and they can go, oh, I want more carnivore YouTubers. And they'd be like, well, who's this guy? How about this guy? And they can click and it goes right to you or right to whoever. And then they say, well, what about video testimonials? And there's a whole section for video testimonies. And you are probably going to actually, because you're one of the main ones that's filming everybody's testimonials, you'll probably have a ton of videos. You already have some on there. I already tried to put some good ones on there. And every day I'm trying to add more and more links. And they go right to yours or whoever's, YouTube. There's a recipe section. So if people want recipes, they're going to go to like Carnivore or like the Carnivore Chef or Chris Kirking Nashville or the Ketogenic Woman. Some of these people, Laura Spaeth, some of these people that's been providing us great recipes for the carnivore community. I'm taking some of theirs and linking theirs, and it's all going to them. I get nothing for that. It just takes people to their channels. And so I'm trying to get this website to be a landing zone for anybody. They can get supplies there. They can get all the information all right there, so they can just keep just going down the rabbit hole without getting lost in the rabbit hole. And that website's called allcarnivoreinfo.com. Allcarnivoreinfo.com. And like I said, I encourage everybody. And the way I look at it is it's a site that we should build together as a community. So I already get submissions from people that are like, hey, I didn't see this video on there. I love this video. It's a great story. And they send me a link. And then through the contact form on the website. And then guess what? I put it up there on the site. I mean, it's being grown by the community already. I've already added a couple pages. People were like, well, hey, what about a list of foods that are acceptable in carnivore? So there's a whole page on the website now of acceptable foods for carnivore. People were like, hey, what about this? Like I said, I've added people's suggestions and links. And that's the way I look at it, is that if we grow this, and even like yourself, if you have specific interviews that you really love that were just like, man, this was a good, because you had some, like, I love everybody's testimonials on your channel, don't get me wrong, but some of them are so good. Like, they're just so good, and so those are the ones for sure I really want to get on and get a link. That way other people, when they're going through the video testimonials, we want the best testimonials out there. We want the best channels. We want the best YouTubers. We want the best information that the carnivore community can offer, because when people land there, new people, we want the best information for them and the best resources at their fingertips all in one place, and they can get lost in all these channels and all that stuff. That was my passion. So
nice. Well, I'll link to your channel and the website below. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us, Josh. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. And I really appreciate, again, what you're doing for the carnivore community by sharing your testimonials. It really makes a huge difference. It really does, Dave. I really appreciate you. I never thought I would be this passionate about this. I really thought when I first started, it was just going to be a diary just to hold me accountable. But there's something that just happens along the way, especially for people like probably yourself and myself, Carrie from Homestead How, Dr. Barry, some of these people that they really want to help people, and they just find ways that they can do it. And so I'm grateful for you and everybody out there that's trying to help people. So thank you for having me.